Yesterday I showed you how I removed my spare tire from the back of my car, and that created some extra storage space. Let's take a quick look at that segment from the video. What you saw in that video is when I took the spare tire out, this piece was the piece that held the tire and the set that removes the tire that you can put a spare tire on with in place. And so this is actually a bolt that is designed to screw into the bracket in the bottom of the car and hold all that in place. But I'm not going to put that spare tire and the tire changing set back. I'm going to keep those up in the back seat where I'm going to use them to create the flat space for the platform for the bedding. And then I also have another use for those spare tire changing tools that I'll show you in future videos. So I've got this, and I've got that space in the bottom of the back of the car where I can store things. And since that space is at the very bottom of the back of the car and it's covered by that tray that I showed you that I can use for more storage space, it's kind of a hidden space. And so I decided what I'm going to use that space for is to put my most valuable items. And that's going to include some bags of tools that I've accumulated over the years, which are worth a decent amount of money. But then also my audio and video equipment that I'll be using to film these YouTube videos, and also some of my personal and financial documents. So what I'm going to do is take this fireproof safe, which I already had, and use this bolt. So let me take this off because this is bulky. I don't need this here. And there's a couple little things holding that bolt in place that if I just come in here and carefully squeeze and push here, I should be able to pop that right out. So now I've got the bolt. And what I did is I drilled a hole in the bottom of this safe so that this bolt would fit right down in there. And that's not going to hurt the fireproof nature of the safe, because underneath the safe where it bolts into the car is a round flat metal area which will guard the bottom of the safe from any fire getting in if the car were to catch on fire. But I'm not really worried about that. What I'm worried about is protecting my valuables from getting stolen. And so I can use this to mount this safe onto that mount that was made for the spare tire. Now I don't want to just put this in here by itself, because that's small. It's not much bigger than the hole, the head of this screw is. And so if somebody tried really hard to pry this out of the bottom, this may go through the bottom there and they may be able to tear it out. So what I did is I went to Home Depot and I bought a washer to spread out the area that this will fit into the bottom. And I bought an even bigger one just to make it especially strong and safe. So when I put that in there, I will be able to bolt this down, and there's just no way somebody's gonna be able to pull this out or pry it out. They'd have to have the key to open this up and unscrew it. And I'll explain later how I'm gonna hide the key for this somewhere. So this will go in the bottom. I'm gonna take it out for now so that I can set this flat, but I'll show you here in a few minutes how I'll actually mount this in the car. But let me show you what I'm going to put in here. So just some basic valuable items. I got the title to my car. I've got my checkbook for the nonprofit that I run. I've got my personal checkbook. I don't write many checks, so just one checkbook for each thing that I do is all I need. Got my passport. So those are my main valuable documents, and I could put cash in there if I needed to or if I had any. Okay, so this is a really nice audio recording system, and so it's got 360-degree microphones, so I can do an interview with somebody, or I can plug wireless microphones in here that I can use to record audio if I'm doing a video interview with somebody. So I'm going to put this in here. I'm also going to put my camera. I've got a Canon Rebel, which is a really nice camera that takes video. It's one of the things I use other than my phone to do video interviews. So I'm going to put this in here. I've got several lenses that'll also fit. So I'm just going to line those up in here. I don't have a cover for the bottom of this, so I just put it in a plastic bag. And then I've got my Sennheiser audio equipment. So this is, if you've ever seen somebody interviewed for like the nightly news, they have these audio transmitters that they clip to somebody's belt, plug this in, and then they've got a little microphone that they clip to your shirt. This transmits the audio to a receiver, which can then plug into something like this piece of audio equipment where it could plug in there and record the interview. So I'm going to put this audio equipment in here as well. Here's the receiver. Here's the charger. It's not that valuable, but I might as well keep all of my audio video equipment together since I've got the room in here. Some batteries for the camera. Connecting cord. Again, these cords aren't that valuable, but it doesn't hurt to keep all this stuff together. And I've got some more space left over in here because I'm using one of these. I've got a set of two. I'm using one of these right now to record the audio for this video. So I'll leave a little bit of room in there for that stuff to go in. So you can see that this all fits nicely into this fireproof safe, which next I'll show you how I'm going to install it in the car. And I've got a key for it. So this is the key that came with the safe. And what I did was I put a high power magnet, I stuck it onto the key so I can take this and stick it to the frame of the car somewhere so that the key is hidden and away from the safe. So again, there's no way once this thing is bolted down on the inside with this bolting system that anyone's going to be able to pull it up or pry it up. The only way they'd be able to get into the safe or take the safe is to open it up and unbolt it from the car. And so not being able to find the key will keep them from doing that. So next, let's take a look at how this will go into the car. So now I'm going to install the safe and my other valuable items in the place where the spare tire used to be. You can see here where the bolt bolts into the bottom of the car. Like I said, it's securely welded to the bottom of the car, so there's no way that anybody's going to be able to pull that safe out once I've bolted it in. I'm going to leave this foam in here just because it actually makes the safe sit at just the right level to touch the bottom of that tray that goes in here. And what the spare tire and the tire changing equipment did was set at the right height to provide some support to that tray in the middle of it, so that when you load stuff, when I load stuff in there, it won't sag down. And so here's the safe. Line it up with the hole there in the bottom. Now I'll use my wrench to tighten it in. Now I will put the items back in that I showed you that I'm going to keep in this safe. And we can close and lock the safe. So that's the safe that's now been installed. And you can see I still have quite a bit of room around this. So what I did is I wanted to keep a lot of the tools that I have, because like I mentioned earlier, I've collected a lot of tools for various things over the years, and it's one of the things I wanted to keep and take with me. So I've got a few tool bags here. So what I did is I bought these WorkPro tool bags because I found that they would sit just right on each side of this. So they squish down just a little bit, and then that tray sits on top flat. So in this bag, I've just got some miscellaneous things. I've got, actually this is the bag where I've got soldering equipment and some other basic tools that I use because I do a lot of electronics work. One of my big hobbies is working with electronics. So I've got these tools. I've got another one of these Work Pro bags. And one of the reasons I got these, you could put stuff loose in here, but it's also just nice to compartmentalize it so you can pull things out and look through them and put them back in. And also these are waterproof. And every once in a while when there's a heavy rain, I do get a little bit of water down here. Not enough to really hurt anything, but I still wanted to keep all of my tools and everything dry and clean. So this has some more basic tools, voltmeter, electrical tape, battery powered drill, hammers, screwdrivers, just miscellaneous tools for pretty much any type of work that may need to be done. So that can come over here. And finally, for the spot that's down here in front of the safe, I have this bag, which is a lot of my electronic stuff. Like I said, building electronics things is my hobby, kind of a hobby I got from my grandfather. And I've got a lot of things in here from transistors to resistors to diodes to microprocessors, breadboards, just a lot of electronic stuff to do projects with that I wanted to take with me because I enjoy that. So this bag will fit just right down here in front. So take a little work, but I can pack all this stuff in and make it fit just right. So there you go. Now I have a compartment underneath here that I can use to store some things, which I'll fill up here over the next couple days. And then underneath that, I've got the old compartment for the spare tire, which I now keep my valuables in. So that's the storage area for my valuables.